Hey dudes and dudettes, here with another awesome Path of Exile video for you. This one's going to be an update to my Righteous Pinata, Righteous Fire build, and it's because the new update that just hit Path of Exile is called the Forsaken Masters. So I'm doing this video because one of the subscribers, fans, asked Flare, how you doing, dude? Was commenting and he wanted to see if Righteous Fire still works and all that. So first off, I'm going to show how to build Righteous Fire and the items you need for it, the passives you'll need and stuff like that, and the skill gems you'll need, and the support gems and so forth. And then I'm going to show you my build, which is Righteous Pinata, and that's how it's going to go. First off, I want to start with the passive skill tree, because that was the biggest thing that was changing, in my opinion, with the layout for Righteous Fire. The items really didn't, and the skills really didn't. So first off, you're going to notice that a lot of the life ones that were 4% increased maximum life and stuff like that, and 5%, it used to be like 8%, a lot of them were, but it really evens out just fine. I still have 6,128 life. It evens out because if I remember correctly, you said in Flare said in comments it's 8 to 12, and once you get to a certain level you start getting 12 points of life instead of 8. But needless to say, even without that, your life is fine. It doesn't change much. The big changes were no more maximum resist all, and you basically less maximum resistance. You only get one fire here, and then the lightning is there, and the ice is over here. So the fire is over here near the Marauder, which is good because my Righteous Fire and most Righteous Fire builds and Righteous Pinata uses the Marauder. The other big change was you don't have to go all the way over here for a life regen node and life. There is still life here, but you don't even need to go over here because it's all consolidated over here now because there's no regen down here, which is what you're after. You can go over here 5-way, 6, for iron reflexes, but I don't get that myself. So unless you want to get iron reflexes, which a lot of do, you don't have to go. It's all consolidated here. They added the life regeneration there, and you can see it stays here, and you go up here for fire damage. So the passives didn't change much. You can find the passives list for a level 65 character, which is the soonest you can use Righteous Fire with the Righteous Fire life build because of Rise of the Phoenix. So at level 65 with 21 skill points from the quests that you can do, that's including the bandit ones, killing all the bandits for the skill point. You can invest your points properly and have a really kicking Righteous Fire build going at level 65 where you just trample through everything and trample through tons of stuff. And so that's in the info below, and that way after level 65 you can decide what you want to do with your build. You can the good thing is after that you're already powerful enough that you can start splashing. You can do summoning skills, you can do spellcaster, you can do axes and cyclone and leap slam, whatever you want to do, because at level 65 you're already a powerhouse with Righteous Fire. So remember the info below, that's the passive skill list. Next we're going to be talking about the skills that you're going to need for the Righteous Fire build. Any Righteous Fire build is going to need these. These are the staple of a Righteous Fire build. You're going to need 2 3-slot items. I would say 2 4-slot items because I like running 3 auras. So the 2 auras that you're going to need definitely is Vitality and Purity of Fire, because Vitality gives life regeneration, which is key, and Purity of Fire gives maximum fire resistance and a huge fire resistance increase, so which is essential. And then of course you want to reduce the mana to make it where you can use those, and then you can add in a 3rd aura that takes up 40%, whichever you want. I use Purity of Elements, but it's not needed. So just those 3 right there: reduce mana, Vitality, Purity of Fire. Those 3 you need definitely. The next is, of course, you're going to need Righteous Fire, and then you're going to need, I use these. Increased burning damage because it adds so much damage, increased area effect because it makes the area effect much larger on Righteous Fire, and of course concentrate effect, because it just adds such an insane amount of damage with the 67% more area damage. Even though it reduces the area effect, the increased area effect offsets that, and you can see now it's 1% bigger. So you're going to need both those into 4-slot items for them. They can be any items, but usually you're going to want to get items that are to life and everything. But we'll get into that next. The item that you're going to need for any Righteous Fire build to be super effective and to actually use at level 65, and the reason people say level 65 is the bare minimum level to use this at, unless you're using something like an energy shield build for Righteous Fire, is Rise of the Phoenix, the Mosaic Kite Shield. You can see there it adds 8% to maximum fire resistance. It is fantastic for any build like this. It has life regen to it, has tons of fire resistance, and of course when you're low on life it increases tons of stuff. That's the only item you really need for a Righteous Fire build. That's it. To be effective with. The rest you can mix match and stuff, but I'm going to show you some things that some items that I think are great, that are unique items that you can get too for not as expensive as some of the ones that's been suggested before. Now, snapshotting I think is out with this update. I never snapshotted. It just wasn't my style. I just thought it made me feel cheap. So since it's out, a lot of people are changing up their builds, but the good thing is that you don't have to if you were running the same Righteous Pinata build as me. The Supreme Truth is the item that I've used ever since the beginning. I created this. Well, I modified the original Righteous Fire build to the Pinata, and the reason I use this thing is it's just an overall great item, and it's very cheap. You can get these given to you sometimes by people, and at most you're gonna spend a chaos on them unless they get popular. But at the time when I got them, they were giving them away. People was like, I deleted 2 of them. So the reason this is so good is +1 to level of gems in this item. So if you put your auras in this, if you were only going to run 2 auras, you could put all your stuff in this and get an increased effect on that. And then 5% increased experience gain. That's just icing on the cake. You're going to out-level everyone else that's not using increased experience gain, which if you're into leveling faster than everybody, that's a big bonus, especially in the late game. And then, of course, the 20% increased elemental damage there has the advantage of increasing your Righteous Fire and all your spells that you're going to be using, and then another 20% increased elemental damage for a total of 40, which is huge. You don't have to worry about the intelligence requirement because you're already going to be using you're already going to have tons of intelligence. Well, enough. And the difference between my build, I should say Carcass Jack, the armor that most people go for is Calms. Now, Calms cost like tons of exalted, and in reality most people will never afford it. You'd have to save for a long time, and it's not viable for most people. But Carcass Jack is a nice not as expensive item. The most you're going to pay for it is probably an exalted for a 4-slotter. It gets higher as you go for like a 6-link or something like that, or a 5-link, but you only need a 4-link really, and just anything else is sugar. Is icing on the cake. So if you're gonna the reason I go with Carcass Jack is I actually saw someone else running this, but it was I'd already wanted to AoE, so you're gonna come to this conclusion anyways without my help telling you that it's just great that it adds 67 to maximum life, 10 to all elemental resistances. Yeah, that's awesome. And then 20% increased radius of various skills, which just is bonused for your Righteous Fire, makes it bigger. And then 12% increased area damage, which increases your Righteous Fire damage. And then extra gore, which is cool. And I may say that the bonus of all these items is they have extremely cool graphics to them. Well, one's grotesque, the armor, but they have cool graphics. You can see here, this looks awesome, the Rise of the Phoenix shield. Looks insanely awesome. And then the Supreme Truth looks wicked, especially for a Righteous Fire build because it's so shiny, it's a ball of light. I actually had one dude that I used to play with say, wow, I'd love to have that old Legacy cosmetic item, and I said, it's not a cosmetic item, that's literally Supreme Truth, what it looks like. It's awesome. And then of course the Carcass Jack looks, it's sewn together flesh, but it looks like it's burnt and stuff. you know, from here, so it fits the Righteous Fire, like he's eternally burning and stuff, you know. Sickness. I should say that Rise of the Phoenix, I will warn you, when you first start the new league that's here, that came, Rise of the Phoenix is usually pretty expensive. It's a couple exalted, 2 to 3, maybe 4 even, because people are racing up the levels to get their Righteous Fire build going. And they're saving all their currency to try to get just the item they need, which is Rise of the Phoenix, and then the rest will come later. Because once you have Rise of the Phoenix, you can run through, do map runs and stuff. So Rise of the Phoenix price gets jacked in the first, and then by the end of the first month, it goes down a little more, and then to the second month, it goes down, and you can get them for 20 to Chaos to an Exalted. But that's unless things change and Righteous Fire becomes even more popular. So keep that in mind. The whole build is not very expensive. You're not even going to spend 3 Exalted on this build to get it all running off the ground. You're not going to spend 2. You don't even spend 2 Exalted, especially if you cut out Carcass Jack. You'll spend like a total of 1 to 2, 1 to 1.5 Exalted if you're getting really good items. If you're trading for them and not finding them. For the rest of the items, there's no real uniques I go for. I try to get as much survivability on them, especially life. You can go for fire damage, like on that you see increased fire damage or increased spell damage. I try to get myself enough life to consider. This build is important for life because you're going to be running in the front line. So I just try to get a considerable amount of life on every single item that I have. The higher the life, the better. You can see up here I lucked out and got 84 and stuff. So on your boots you can get run speed, so you run faster through the things, but mainly just look for the normal survivability stuff. Resistance, life, armor. You don't need energy shield because you're not going to be running it very much. You're going to be running life, and as soon as you turn on Righteous Fire, it'll burn down your energy shield. So that's pretty much for the items that you're going to be using up here for the passives. And one thing that I can't stress enough is flasks. Flasks are very important for this build, and I'll run you through the flask that I use so that you can get acquainted with the flask that are good for it, and you can maybe find your own order of flasks you want, because mine's a specific order. The first flask I use is an immunity to curses flask, and the reason I use immunity to curses as a first is because when you get cursed with something like vulnerability or any curse that's going to hurt your Righteous Fire, your resistance or anything like that, or damage taken, it can really mess you up, because Righteous Fire is always burning damage off you, so you can die quick if you're not careful. And so I always make myself immune to curses with this. The bonus is that another mod you need to look for on it that I look for with my remove curses is the 50% increased amount recovered, and because it recovers so much life. Because if I'm cursed, I'm already in trouble. Even if I'm not, I want that buffer of a ton of life. Like see there, 3,690 life over 11.9 seconds. So the immunity to curse during flask effect is going to last a long time, as long as I'm being healed by the potion, and it could last 11.9 seconds. But it also heals me for over half of my life. So that's my first flask. Look for immunity to curses, and of course the increased amount recovered is optional. I just prefer it. My second flask is a ruby flask of adrenaline. Now, the ruby flasks are just like healing potions, because you're regenerating back so much life while Righteous Fire is burning you down. But if you hit this, you're going to increase your maximum fire resistance and your fire resistance, and it's going to fill your life extremely fast, just like a healing potion, because you're no longer getting burnt as much by Righteous Fire. So you're getting the full brunt of your regeneration, which is huge considering it's going to be over 14% or so of your total life, which is, you have 6,000. So that's a lot being regen real quick. And on those, I look for on this one, I look for the charge recovery and increased movement speed. Now, the reason I do this is because I always like going a little bit faster when I'm dungeon running and stuff, and this gives you that like a speed potion, but it's not having the downside of being a speed potion, so you can get through your runs faster, and just in case you need to get away, because sometimes if you're in trouble and you're chugging pots, you need to get away, and this just helps you get there faster. The third is set in stone. You need this stone. granite flask. Get it? Is an ample granite flask of iron skin. Now the reason I chose an ample and iron skin is because it gives me 2 charges, and I don't run, if you remember correctly, I don't run down here iron reflexes. I don't, so I don't have as much armor as some other Righteous Fire builds. I run this because it gives me all the armor I need, and it being 17 extra charges, it gives me 2 uses of it, and you know, it gives me enough armor to tank like Cole or Brutus or Piety even. Most people don't know that Piety, the ice shot she shoots, well, a lot do, but some don't know that the ice shot that Piety kills so many people with, it actually isn't mainly cold damage, it's mainly physical damage. So when you pot one of these, you can stand on Piety and beat the crap out of her. And since it's going to give you 2 chances to pot, you can just sit there for over 9 seconds going, haha. The final 2 are optional. You can actually switch them in and out for your own purposes. You can see here that I've just added win more to it, basically more life and more ruby flask. It's, you know, just there just in case that I need to heal more. And then for fun, I added the movement speed effects on them, so I always have movement speed when I'm running through wherever. Now you can switch these out for bosses that or enemies or situations. Like with Dominus, I switched them out, switch one of them at least, maybe both of them out, for a Topaz Flask. It gives maximum lightning resist and tons of lightning resistance, since he does a lot of lightning damage. And then I just set on him and burn him down because I'm immune. You know, I'm practically immune to his lightning damage. So keep that in mind when you play with this. Get your own set of flask. But before I get off of the subject of these flasks and show you the Righteous Pinata build, and then come down here and show you how all this comes together, I want to show you why I keep these 3 flasks in the order I said. Like I said, I have them in order, and I'll show you why. The reason I have these in order is just 1, 2, 3. They're real quick, and when you're going against a tough boss, say Piety, Cole, Brutus, or anything like that, or unique monster, you want to go in there with this your strongest, and you don't want to have to be, you know, 1 and then 3 and then 5 and, you know, and stuff like that, and skipping around. It's just 1, 2, 3, and you see I get all those buffs: immune to curses, run speed, fire resistance, and I'm healing a crap ton, and I get tons of armor. You know, so I'm basically just steroiding myself up, going, "Wow, let's go!" Real quick, like I can hit all 3 of them, and since they all have over 1 charge, I can do that twice in a row and stay there for a very long time, tanking and destroying whatever needs to be destroyed at the time. Okay, so now that we've gotten the basis for Righteous Fire down, and you know how to run Righteous Fire and what items to get and stuff for it, I'm going to tell you the Righteous Pinata style that I use. Now, the whole Righteous Pinata is very simple. It's a lazy build, so you don't have to cast any stuff yourself. Some people like casting their own curses, like Elemental Weakness with the Righteous Fire build. Some people like going Elemental Equilibrium here and casting Frost Nova, so their fire damage is higher, and they like, you know, pulling out that little extra fire damage. Well, actually, a lot of extra fire damage. They like pulling out that extra fire damage, but with Righteous Pinata, you're going to do none of that. It's all set up for you to be lazy. And the key to this was building AoE and cast when damage taken. Each extra slot, since you have so many left over, because you only need 2 force slots to run your Righteous Fire, each one that's left is all cast when damage taken with whatever spells you want. Now, see, cast when damage taken, Shock Nova, and Arc. Now, Arc is the only non-AoE skill I got just because I like the look of it. So that's the only thing that doesn't synergize with the AoE off of Carcass Jack and, you know, and the Righteous Fire and everything. So, and the cast when damage taken AoE stuff that the theme that I go with. So, I'll show you all this. In my Supreme Truth, I have cast when damage taken, Shock Nova, and Arc. And in my Carcass Jack, I have cast when damage taken, Detonate Dead, Firestorm, and Arctic Breath. Now, if it was a 6th slot, I'd have 2 more spells down here. And in my Shield, my Rise of the Phoenix, I have cast when damage taken, Elemental Weakness, and Fireball. And that's the curse. Normally people would cast it themselves, but we're lazy, so we'll wait until they do enough damage to us to make us cast it. And then in your my boots here, 4-slot boots, I have cast when damage taken, Rejuvenation Totem. Now, I think it's fun to use any totem you want. Sadly, I don't think Searing Bond Totem uses AoE, but so it doesn't fit the AoE theme. But you can use Devouring Totem, Rejuvenation Totem, anything you want. But I like having a totem pop up from every now and then when the pinata goes off. Molten Shell, because it adds sort of like a second pinata, because this pinata goes off, cast Molten Shell, then Molten Shell goes off. It's like a big boom pinata. And then Ice Nova. So it's you see why I don't want run Elemental Equilibrium, because I run all kinds of different elemental spells. And that's why the Supreme Truth is not just fire damage, it just adds to elemental damage, so it adds a ton to everything. And let's just go down here and see how the build runs. Now, I'm going to show you what it looks like, and the reason I call it pinata is because when you're hitting a pinata and all of a sudden it explodes and all the candy comes out. I'll show you this. Here it goes. You can see it. So many of them cast it lags you. See, you're just a walking pinata of spells. And now let's... It'll kill him. You can see here how hilarious it is. You're just running through here not doing anything and it's killing them. And since you have such a high regen and resistance, it works real. See, now there's a curse. And there you go. Curse is off of you because curse immunity. So let's see what actual Righteous Fire looks like. First off, before you cast Righteous Fire, make sure you cast your auras, because this is what happens. It burns you down. And you will die if a monster hits you. So cast all your auras, Purity of Fire, Vitality, and my third optional aura is Purity of Elements. And then when you cast Righteous Fire, not so bad, you don't drain, you stay at this. So you're always a little lower than your max. And I'm going to show you what the build looks like going through here. We'll just kill him. That's OOS. Oh, did I hear a big monster? It's Cole, looks like. And I'll show you. We're going to use our 3 potions and we're going to set on him. Prepare to be set on, Cole. And we just wait. Then we just pot again. There you go. As you can see, none of the power has changed. It's still extremely powerful. And you go... oh, look. Oh, let's see what it's got in it. Let's open it. You can see how it will lag you out because so many spells go off at the same time. So it's hilarious to see. I love seeing it because it's like big fireworks go off, but you rarely get to see it sometimes because when they all go off, it's like, you know, all over the screen. But it gets some laughs. I was running this with groups before, and all of a sudden I'll be in the center of it, and all of a sudden it'll go off, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" And I'll be like, "It was lag, graphical lag, because all the spells go off at once." So it's hilarious to see that. And see, you just speed up, and you gotta run through all the enemies. And this just adds more regen, and you can see it regening up. So you can see it didn't lose any power. It's still going to burn through this the same way it burns through the other maps that I've done, and the Dominus, you know, Tower of God, well, Scepter of God. You know, you're going to burn right through it, and it's still the same old awesome build it is that it ever was. So luckily, Righteous Pinata is still in it, Righteous Fire is still in it. It's just changed a little bit. So. One key to playing this is if you're playing the other build, you have to cast and stuff. But with this, you don't have to do anything. You're just going to walk around. That's all you're going to do. You're just going to walk. Go la-di-da-di-da. You walk and you kill stuff. And when it hits you, you explode. Like, oh, I'm so fat. Don't hit me. I'm going to explode. You like the old Monty Python? Get a bucket. I'm going to throw up. So that's pretty much the build strategy. You know, there's not like, and you're gonna have to cast this and cast this. With Righteous Pinata, you just walk into the monsters, blow up. That's pretty much it. I'll show you Scepter of God too, and you know, it's a fun build. And once you get up there, you'll be burning through these maps, and you'll be burning through levels and stuff, and it can fund your other characters because it doesn't. I should say that when leveling Righteous Pinata can be a pain. Righteous Fire all the way up to level 65, it can be a pain unless you get right items. I suggest Wide Swing Poleaxe, and then you like use Cleave or Cyclone, because you already have enough life not to die. And then once you get up higher level, just keep using heavier and heavier mauls that do more damage, and you can level that way. And you can also level by using, I know some use Searing Bond. You can use any fire move because you're going to be getting fire damage anyways. You have to cast Righteous Fire every time you zone, so keep that in mind. So let's see this. Oh, here's a room. I love when that goes off. As you can see, I'm not potting. This is merciless difficulty, by the way. I'm not potting at all. With this build, you don't have to pot most often, unless you're in trouble. It's going to kill most things. And if they're really hurting you and they make all the spells go off, that's the fun thing about Pinata build is if they're hurting you with your Righteous Fire, they're going to do enough damage to make your spells go off. And then you're going to see that graphical lag go down, and you're going to see all of a sudden everything go. So keep that. Keep watching for that, you know. And you get heals from your Regen Totem, little Regen Totem. What you doing? So that's pretty much the strategy and stuff for the Righteous Pinata build. Remember to look in the info below, and you can see the passives that you will be needing. Well, the passive for level 65, and I can of course, if you guys want, I can add in the 120 skill points used, but I say after level 65 you can go for what you want. If you want to go for more life or more fire damage, you can. If you want to go for summoning skills, you can. Whatever you want. So, ooh, I hear a lot of something. See if we get his little speed. Okay, I just wanted to run through a few of these things, and you kill bosses like crazy. You kill bosses like crazy. You have to use a little more strategy with bosses. But the strategy, well, you actually don't. What am I saying? The only one you might use strategy with is Dominus, because he does that big punch. I like to get out of the way of that. But if you're using lightning potions and granite potions, flasks, if you're using granite and topaz flasks, you don't really have to worry about him. You can set on him. I like to go down to Piety and just set on her and go, deal with it. Deal with it, Piety. So, I hope you enjoyed this. There's not much else to the build much. Just enjoy it. You know, just have fun running around killing stuff. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope maybe the new monitor makes the video look better or something. I don't know. It's used, so it might die. It was thrown out. It was thrown away. So I cleaned it up and everything, and it worked actually. So it still does this. Look, like the Supreme Truth is cut off a little bit up there. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to switch the options at the bottom or something. So I hope you enjoyed this, all of you, and hope it opens your eyes to some awesome builds. And Hey Flare dude again. Thanks for telling me to update this. It really needs to be updated for people to see. And I hope you enjoyed this, man, and you have fun playing it. And for everyone out there, all the fan subscribers, everyone that's even watching that doesn't subscribe, y'all take care. Have a great day. Take care, be safe, be cool to each other.